Red cherry shrimp have grown massively in popularity over the last few years. And whilst they look stunning in shrimp-only nano tanks, hobbyists often find themselves asking the question, can I keep red cherry shrimp in my community tanks with my other fish? I'll not only share with you my thoughts on keeping fish and red cherry shrimp together, but I'll also share with you my 5 favourite fish to keep with red cherry shrimp. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Richard and I'm a fish and shrimp breeder based in the UK. So if you've watched any of my other videos, it probably won't surprise you to learn I'm a massive fan of keeping red cherry shrimp in pretty much all of my community fish tanks. In my experience, providing you set the aquarium up to give the shrimp the best chance of survival, they can do well with pretty much any fish you keep. I currently keep red cherry shrimp in my guppy tanks, in my fancy goldfish tank, I keep it in my tetra tanks, I keep them with my large tetras, my Congo tetras. Provided you choose your fish wisely and you set your tank up in the correct fashion, I find the shrimp do absolutely fine. Now obviously I don't keep red cherry shrimp in my Oscar tanks or with African cichlids, because those fish will actively hunt the shrimp. They will actively see them as a food source to chase down and consume. However, many smaller fish, like guppies, like neon tetras, like harlequin rasboras, whilst they will eat the occasional baby shrimp if they happen to manage to catch one, they don't spend their day hunting the shrimp. They don't see every shrimp in the tank as a potential food source, and I think that makes the difference. Now, as mentioned, I genuinely believe how you set the tank up will affect whether or not you have success keeping red cherry shrimp with your fish. I'll put a small card up here which shows how I set up the tank on screen, but this aquarium was deliberately set up with shrimp and fish living together in mind. And what I did was I used a large number of rocks to provide ample hiding places where the shrimp can go, where the fish, generally speaking, can't. The same is true of the live plants. Whilst at the moment this tank only has a couple of small clumps of Java moss, as that Java moss grows, it will literally provide a haven where the shrimp, particularly the baby shrimp, can spend their day away from any hungry fish. When it comes to red cherry shrimp surviving in the community tank, it's all about the hiding places. Needless to say, if you try keeping a group of red cherry shrimp in a bare bottom tank that has no decorations, with a group of fish, albeit small fish, the fish will harass and eventually pick off the red cherry shrimp. So now we know we can keep our red cherry shrimp in our community tanks with our fish, let me share with you my 5 favourite fish to keep with red cherry shrimp. So in at number 5, it's more of a group of fish than an individual fish, and that is small members of the tetra family. Now that can be rummy-nosed tetras, cardinal tetras, neon tetras. There are dozens of different tetras to choose from, and in my experience, they all do well with red cherry shrimp. As with pretty much every fish on this list, will the tetras pick off a baby shrimp if they have the chance? Sure, but I find providing you set up the tank correctly, the shrimp will breed far faster than the tetras will manage to eat any of them. Now, the next fish on my list could be considered somewhat controversial. It's a betta. Now, betta fish, they can live in harmony with shrimp, but it very much depends on the temperament of your individual betta. Now, you may not know until you put shrimp in with your betta whether or not your betta is going to allow shrimp to live with it. Some bettas are stone cold killers. They won't even allow a mystery snail to live in their tank. Others, they're fairly chilled and laid back, and they don't mind who they share their water with. This is going to be one of those suck it and see combinations, and you probably won't know if it's going to work till you try it. So make sure you have a plan B. If you put your shrimp and your betta together, and the betta just goes gangbuster trying to kill those shrimp, have somewhere else to put them. Have somewhere to take them out of that situation, and put them somewhere safe. Now, my next choice of fish to keep with red cherry shrimp is the Panda Corydoras, or in fact, pretty much any member of the Corydoras family. Corydoras fish spend almost their entire day bumbling along the bottom of the aquarium looking for things to eat, and their downturned mouths simply are not really designed to eat red cherry shrimp. The only thing you do have to be aware of when keeping Corydoras with red cherry shrimp is they essentially want to eat in the same zone, meaning you must make sure there is sufficient food for the Corydoras and for the red cherry shrimp, because I suspect the Corydoras will outcompete the red cherry shrimp almost every time. So number 2 on my list of fish to keep with red cherry shrimp is my favourite Rasbora of them all, the Harlequin Rasbora. Harlequin Rasbora are small, colourful fish that essentially spend their entire day swimming back and forth in the middle of the water column. They rarely venture to the surface, they rarely venture to the bottom of the tank, they just swim back and forth minding their own business. They have tiny little mouths and pose almost no threat whatsoever to your red cherry shrimp. I think it's fair to say if you were to set yourself up a 20 or 30 gallon aquarium heavily planted with lots of red cherry shrimp and a school of Harlequin Rasbora, that would be an aquarium you would never get bored of watching. Now, I don't think it'd be a surprise to anybody at all to find out my number 1 fish to keep with red cherry shrimp is the fancy guppy. Fancy guppies are small, friendly, phenomenally colourful, and pose almost no danger whatsoever to your red cherry shrimp. Yes, the females do get up to maybe a couple of inches. Yes, they can pick off the occasional baby shrimp. But generally speaking, providing you set up your aquarium with lots and lots of hiding places for the shrimp, with lots of live plants and piles of rocks or pieces of wood, red cherry shrimp and guppies can live beautifully in harmony. Not only will they live well together, but if you enjoy selling your red cherry shrimp, you can also breed the guppies and sell them or trade them with your local fish store for store credit to set against more fish or food or any supplies you need. Whether your tank is small or large, fill it with red cherry shrimp and a colony of guppies, and again, that is an aquarium you are never going to tire of watching. That's an aquarium full of colour, full of movement, and full of potential. So I think it's fair to say, in my experience, you can keep lots of different fish with red cherry shrimp, and they can live in harmony, providing you set the aquarium up properly. Now, if you're a fan of red cherry shrimp, why not download a free copy of my ebook on Neocaridina shrimp? Alternatively, if you want to know how to easily breed a large colony of red cherry shrimp, check out the video linked on screen. Thanks for watching.